Hello there, guys. Welcome aboard your London Eye River Cruise. Yeah. Hey there, guys. I'm just going to come to the front very briefly. Hey there, guys. Welcome aboard your London Eye River Cruise. Now, for you guys on the top deck, we do have some rules. There is no standing on the top deck. So if you're standing, you're doing it wrong and you got to find a seat if you are here on the top deck. But you are more than welcome to go downstairs at any time where there is indoor seating, toilets in the back of the boat, and a nice bar downstairs. You grab yourself a nice snack and a nice drink. So feel free to go down at any time. Now, but do remain seated for the time that you are here on the top deck. Of course, unless you are immediately going downstairs. And the reason I ask you to stay seated on the top deck is because if you look behind you, you'll see our wheelhouse. Yes, our wheelhouse with our lovely captains inside. And if you stand up, you'll lose their vision or end up with Titanic too. So just remain seated. Now guys, we are going under the first bridge of our journey. Let's give these people a wave. Hello up there! Hello, hello! Very cool name, and I will be your host for this London Eye River Cruise. But enough about me, let's get on with the tour. Now, starting off is over on the right hand side, the first site of our journey, and that is the Palace of Westminster, otherwise known as the Houses of Parliament. This was home to the monarchy up until King Henry VIII, but then he decided, well, he didn't really want it anymore, so he packed his bags, moved off to Whitehall. He then passed this building over to the government, who still reside in it to this day. And if you take a look at the bottom of the palace, you will see green and red awnings. Green for the House of Commons and red for the House of Lords. Now that colour scheme is implemented throughout that building to keep those two houses separate. They have their own separate offices, their own separate bars and restaurants, and even their own separate toilets as well. And the reason for that separation of the two houses is to avoid corruption in government. I don't think it's working out too well. But as we turn around to go towards East London, my hometown, the Palace of Westminster will now be on the left-hand side. Whoa, crazy way to mix it up. But guys, you will see that famous clock tower down at the end. The world-famous clock tower. Now guys, you all know the name of that tower, so on the count of three, I want you guys to shout out that tower's name. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Big Ben!
Big Ben, you are half correct. Big Ben is actually the name given to the 13.5-ton bell that resides inside the tower. Yes, Big Ben actually is the name that refers to the 13.5-ton bell that resides inside the tower. The tower itself is called the Elizabeth Tower, but where the bell gets the name Big Ben from, well, it's named after the chief commissioner who helped build the whole tower, a very loud, large, round man by the name of Benjamin Hall, who wasn't very nice to his workers. And when his workers were installing the 13.5-ton bell inside the tower, they noticed some similarities, most notably both the bell and their boss Benjamin Hall both being very large and round. So they decided to name the bell after their boss Benjamin Hall, therefore giving it the name Big Ben. But talking about very large round bosses, it is now my turn to talk about my boss, the London Eye, over on the right hand side. Yes, the London Eye, the world's largest cantilevered observation wheel. is a very romantic spot. We've seen around 500 lovely romantic proposals on the London Eye, and around 100 rejections that we know of. Now do bear in mind, if you are preparing to propose to someone on the London Eye, it is a half-an-hour journey to do a full loop of the famous wheel. 15 minutes to the top and 15 minutes to the bottom. And if the love of your life says no to your lovely romantic proposal, you do also have an automatic photo taken at the end of your journey around the London Eye, so it may not be a photo you actually want to keep. On the left-hand side, you will see a stone obelisk with two sphinxes on either side of it. Well, you can now see just the obelisk, not the sphinxes right now because the silver sturgeon is in the way. But that stone obelisk is older than London itself. Over 3,500 years old. It is Cleopatra's Needle. Cleopatra's Needle was a gift from Egypt to the UK when we helped Egypt fend off Napoleon during the Battle of the Nile. Now, given the fact that Cleopatra's Needle is a gift, it makes it the only piece of Egyptology here in London that is not stolen. So everything else in the British Museum, that was taken without permission. But guys, another bridge. Let's see if we can grab these people's attention. Hello up there on the bridge. Hello, Waterloo Bridge. Are they not going to look at us? No. Aww. Better luck next time, I'm afraid, guys. I'm sorry about that. Now, Waterloo Bridge, the bridge that we just went under, is the longest bridge on the Thames, and it's made out of a self-cleaning stone found in the south of England that actually cleans itself with the rainwater. And given how much it rains here in the city of London, probably makes Waterloo Bridge the cleanest bridge in the world. But guys, if we take a look up ahead, over on the right-hand side, you will see an orange brick building with some white stripes, with a grey tower on top that appears to spell out the word OXO. Now, if any of you are unfamiliar with OXO, let me tell you about them. They are a British food brand that specialises in making stock cubes of beef dust. Now, you take that beef dust, you combine it with hot water, and you get lovely, scrumptious, delicious gravy. Tasty. Now, when the OXO company were building along here on the Thames in the 1930s, they weren't aware that it's actually illegal to advertise along the river, since the Thames is a royal highway, and they were taken to court because of that grey tower on top that clearly spells out their company name. But in order to get around this, they hired a very, very cheeky lawyer who made an argument to the judge that went a little bit something like this. No, you got it all wrong, see? See those shapes on that tower that you think says OXO? Doesn't actually say OXO at all. No, it does not. Turns out that those shapes on that tower are just windows. Yeah, you heard me right, windows. Now listen here, how were we to know when we ordered these windows that one would come in the shape of an O, the other an X, and the other another O? Now listen here, I'm fully aware that it is illegal to advertise along the river, but there's nothing illegal about windows, yeah? Now, with that argument in hand, the judge turned round with a very stern look on his face. Tensions rose in the courtroom. Beads of sweat were dripping down people's faces as the judge stood up, towered above everyone, and said something that shocked the entire room. Okay, I believe ya. And there we go, and the judge believed them, and the OXO company got away with it. Safe to say that was the last case that judge ever worked. Apparently he was actually laughed out of the courtroom and he became a bit of a laughing stock. Terrible joke. But let's distract ourselves. Up ahead are the Blackfriars Bridges. Between these two bridges you will see these mysterious red pillars holding up the absolute tremendous weight of nothing at all. Keep your eyes peeled for those.
ये तो रेड वही तो बोल रहे हैं.
There they are, on our left and our right, these mysterious red pillars. More of those to come on part 2 of the tour. Over on the left-hand side is a lovely view of St. Paul's Cathedral. Opened in 1711 on Christmas Day by designer Sir Christopher Wren, who was a very religious man, and he believed that we should go to church 365 days a year, hence why he built the cathedral 365 feet tall. Pineapples are a very big symbol of wealth back in the Victorian era, and it would cost you around $5,000 to own one. Christopher Wren wanted a 60-foot golden pineapple on top of that cathedral, but was ultimately denied. But if you take a look to the left of that cathedral, you will see these two towers come into view. And on top of those two towers, you will see two 6-foot golden pineapples. So he got in his design somewhere in the end.
इधर इसके पीछे, ये साइड के पीछे.
Now we are going quite fast towards Tower Bridge, so there has been a few things I've missed out, but I will tell you about those things that we've missed on the way back, since we'll be going back to the London Eye a lot slower. But in the meantime, up ahead is Southwark Bridge. Southwark Bridge also gets the nickname the Lonely Bridge, because it sees the least amount of footfall of all the bridges here in London. Because it connects absolutely nothing of interest from one side to nothing of interest on the other. But there is something interesting on the other side of the bridge, over on the right-hand side, and you'll be able to see that in just a moment. And it is very interesting, of course, if you do like going to the pub. Yes, over on the right-hand side, you will see a small building with some red windows. That is the Anchor Tavern, over 800 years old. I've seen some famous faces over the years, such as William Shakespeare and Charles Dickens, who actually wrote some of his books in that very tavern. Over on the left-hand side, coming up between the buildings, right in front of a big chunky skyscraper, you will see a big stone column with a golden orb on top. That is the Monument. Simply known as the Monument, it is a monument to the Great Fire of London of 1666. It was the first thing built after the fire, and it was built so the citizens of London could go to the top and watch their city get rebuilt around them. It is still open to this day, making it the oldest ticketed attraction here in the city. No lifts and no escalators, but 311 steps to the top. Now once you get to the top, you do get a nice certificate. And let me tell you, it is a great monument to the fire, since once you reach the top, your thighs will be burning. Now up ahead is that world-famous Tower Bridge. But before we get to Tower Bridge, I don't mean to alarm anyone, but there is something approaching us from the front on the right-hand side. It lurks in the river with us. Yes, over on the right-hand side, approaching from the front. It's fast, deadly, gigantic. No, it's not a giant monster. It's a World War II battleship, the HMS Belfast, famous for firing some of the first shots off during the D-Day landings at Normandy Beach. Also served as a peacekeeping ship during Vietnam. After that, it was going to get scrapped, but then the Imperial War Museum got involved and they wanted to turn it into a museum here on the Thames, which they have done. And when the Imperial War Museum bought it off the Navy to turn into a museum, they bought it off the Navy for the grand price of £1. Yes, £1. One Freddo Frog, one McDonald's cheeseburger. Now, if you are a fan of Navy history, I do highly recommend going on board. It's great on there. It's around £30 a ticket. Now up ahead is Tower Bridge, and for health and safety reasons, just have to announce again, Do feel free to get as many photos and as many videos as you like, but just do so as you remain seated. So if you are standing up, do take your seats. I see someone standing up right in the middle of the walkway, well, almost in the center of the walkway. Excuse me, can you sit down, please? Hello. Yes, if you are standing up, do take a seat. Yes, just to reiterate the rules, do take a seat if you are on the top deck. Because if you stand up like you are doing, I see you right in front of me again, standing up. Do take a seat, please. Thank you. There you go, 10 points. Yes, do remain seated because we don't want to crash. You will block the vision of our captains. But guys, we are now approaching the Tower Bridge. Now, let's see if we can get some waves off of anyone from Tower Bridge. We've got a few people on the bridge. Let's give them a wave. Hello, Tower Bridge. Up there. There we go. There we are. That brings me to my next point. Now, there is an old sailor's legend that states if you are able to get a wave off of anyone from Tower Bridge, you are actually granted 50 years financial success and good luck.
ये व्यू पॉइंट वो है, वो दिख रहा है, वो बंदा खड़ा है देख वहाँ पे लैडर पे उधर, वहाँ से नीचे से व्यू पॉइंट है वो जो इंस्टाग्राम में जो बता रहा था, वो देख वो बंदा खड़ा है नहीं बट वो अभी हाईलाइट है तो वो भर गया है, वो खाली वो पानी उतर जाता है ये देख अभी वो साइड घूमेगा ना बताऊँ यहाँ पे दीवार खत्म हो गई ना बाजू में छोटा सा लैडर है हाँ बैक लैडर है ना इससे पानी खत्म हो जाता है जब राइट आती है तो वहाँ का पूरा इसका फोटो आता है वो लाइक हाँ दैट इज द व्यू पॉइंट तो मैं लास्ट टाइम भी कर सकते थे
That building behind that building has a point on top. That is called the Scalpel. And right behind the Scalpel, you'll see an egg-shaped building. That is called the Gherkin. Well, it would be very hard to talk about skyscrapers here in the city of London and not mention what is over on the left-hand side. And that is the tallest building in Western Europe, the Shard. Opened in 2012, it is as tall as aviation laws will allow here in the city, standing over 1,000 feet. Now inside you get offices, businesses, bars and restaurants and hotels. You can also own a flat for the grand price of £50 million. And with that £50 million flat, you are not allowed to own a pet. You don't get a garden. You can't open a window. But you do get a member of the Black Eyed Peas as a neighbour. Now, it is said that will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas actually owns the top floor of the Shard. The fact that £50 million for a flat might actually be worth it. Now, up ahead, guys, is the world-famous, mythical, legendary London Bridge. Yes, that grey slab of concrete right in front of us is the world-famous London Bridge. Now, people get very confused about the names. If you were to type in on Google London Bridge, you wouldn't actually get pictures of London Bridge. You'd actually get pictures of Tower Bridge behind us. But to make sure no one was making any more mistakes with the names, we actually had London Bridge etched into the very concrete of the pillars that you'll be able to see on either side of this boat as we go under it. But guys, we've got a few people on London Bridge and they look like they're in quite a bit of a rush to get home. But let's see if we can distract them for like 5 seconds and get some waves off of them. Hello London Bridge! Hello up there! There we go, perfect, there we are. It's a very rare occasion to actually get waves off of this bridge. Now you may be familiar with that song about London Bridge that goes like this. The London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Well, that is the song about London Bridge falling down, and it has actually fallen down 3 times in its history. The first one built in 50 AD by the Romans, ultimately destroyed by the Vikings. The second one burned down during the Great Fire of London of 1666. The third one was beginning to sink, and we had no money at all to build a new one, so we tried to sell the one that was sinking. Enter the scene a businessman from America by the name of Robert McCulloch. He was a big fan of London, and he heard that we were selling London Bridge, and he jumped at the chance to buy it, and we jumped at the chance to sell it to him. Yay! So he paid for the bridge around $2.5 million, and we had London Bridge sent to his home in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Robert McCulloch ran down the stairs with a big grin on his face. He was so excited to see the delivery of his new bridge. He got to the front door, he put his hands on the door handle, he turned the door handle, he pulled the door open, and what was there? Well, not the bridge he actually expected. You see, when he heard that we were selling London Bridge, the bridge he was actually thinking of, the bridge he thought he was buying, was Tower Bridge. He thought Tower Bridge was called London Bridge, so he thought he was getting that lovely